Good morning, everyone. We're excited to have Kyndall Truett of the National Training Center with us today to discuss wellness in a remote workplace. If you have any questions for Kyndall, please type them in the chat section. Kyndall has been with the NTC for more than 10 years. She has a bachelor's degree from the University of Central Florida. She is an ACSM personal trainer and an ACSM cancer exercise trainer. Kyndall likes to work with populations, especially those currently undergoing treatment for cancer who have completed their treatment. She also enjoys working post-rehab with individuals who need to transition from physical therapy to the fitness floor. Welcome, Kyndall.
Thanks for having me.
They should be able to.
Oh, thanks for having me, you guys.
Go ahead.
Thanks for having me.
You can go start.
Oh, you just want me to go ahead and start?
Okay.
All right, well, I'm excited to be here with you guys. It's nice to get out of the house just a little bit. And like many of us, we're home from our jobs. Maybe we're able to work from home. Maybe we're home with kids while our kids are schooling. And we maybe need to get up from the computer for a little bit, maybe just take a little bit of a break and have some you time. Fitness centers are not open. A lot of parks are closed too, which kind of limits a lot of people, especially if you were the type of person that maybe did a lot of cardiovascular exercise machines, or maybe some resistance training too, and maybe you need some type of alternative. But you can get a great workout at home. You can sweat it out in your living room. Something that I would suggest that you do is carve out a time for you, and also create a space to work in too. The slides that you'll see, I did it sunrise. The weather was a little bit bad outside, so I decided just to get in a workout in my living room there. And I choose to do it before my little one gets up in the morning, and it's just my own individual time. I have 30 minutes. I set a clock, and I just do what I can do to get a little bit of movement in. And the first thing that you're going to want to do with these workouts is, just like any workout, you're going to want to get in a good warm-up. And so with a warm-up, the idea of this is to get your muscles nice and loose, getting some blood flowing throughout those muscles. You'd never just want to start right into going into some free weight exercises or any other type of resistance training without warming up. If you have access to a walking area, or you can bicycle, that would be a great option too, to go out and do your cardiovascular fitness outside and then come back inside. Or if, like I said, like on this particular day, the weather was bad, so I just decided to do a couple intervals of these cardio exercises. So we all know jumping jacks are great. If you can't jump, there's a modified version where you just wave your arms and your legs back and forth without doing the jumping motion. Okay. Here we go. Skater hops are another one. You just hop side to side. Again, you don't have to do the hopping motion too if you're maybe concerned about any joints. Mountain climbers are a great one too. Mountain climbers are just straight arms. You want to make sure your back is nice and straight, and you're just alternating knees to chest, and then you can also alternate knees to opposite shoulder too. What I like to do with this is set a timer on my phone and kind of set it down in front of me and hit the timer. So maybe that works, or maybe you have like an interval counter too. And then jogging in high knees in place. And you don't have to jump, like I said. If you just want to kind of just tighten your core up and bring those knees, alternate your knees, that would be a great way to get in some modified jogging. With your core, you could really focus on doing some core exercises either before or after you do your lower and upper body, but I'm just going to throw it in the beginning. I prefer to do core exercises first. I like my core to be warmed up before I do my lower body and upper body. Sometimes too, if I haven't been, maybe if with like upper body and lower body, if I haven't been doing as much, I get, and then I get into doing lower body and upper body things, I get more tired, and then I'm more inclined to not do my core exercises. So I just do it in the beginning just to get it done. So some of my favorite core exercises are, first one, the straight arm plank and the elbow plank. We kind of had a big debate about the planks here with our fitness staff. With elbow planks, you're internally rotating your shoulders. So I suggest that if you're at a computer and you feel like you don't have very good desk ergonomics and you're already hunched over, then that might be the best time to try the straight arm plank on the left side of the screen, where you can open up those shoulders and then your shoulders aren't internally rotated. But this is a great core exercise. This is called isometric, which means you're tightening up your core, you're holding the contraction of your core. There's also crunches that you can do out there too, but if you have back and neck issues, instead of putting repeated force on your neck and your back, isometric like planks would be a really good option for you. Superman's in the picture here. I have Superman's doing both arms and both legs, but you can alternate opposite arm, opposite leg if you wanted to too. It's a great one for your low back, your multifidus muscle. So another one, if you are at the computer and you feel maybe like you don't have the best desk ergonomics and you've been slouched, that's a great one to do. Come down to the floor and do a little bit of Superman's. Bird dogs are kind of the same idea. You have, except you're on all fours and you're reaching with opposite arm and opposite leg. And I know it's kind of hard to see in the video here with my black pants. There's like a bench behind me. But the idea is not how high to reach your arm and your leg. The idea is just to reach your arm in front of you and point with your leg behind you. And the whole time what you're doing is pulling in the contraction of your core. So I would recommend doing one side, opposite arm, opposite leg, and then switching to your other side. You can switch sides if you want to. Sometimes it gets a little confusing though. Okay, going into some lower body. A squat is a great one. You could even increase the speed of the exercise too. If you wanted to more of a cardio leg warm up. But if you notice the foot position here, I have my feet flat on the floor and you can see my toes are slightly lifted. You always want to keep the weight on the back of your heels. And I like my arms out in front of me for balance. If you have free weights, you could always hold them at your sides if you wanted to. And I had to hurry up with the timer on this, so I didn't go down as far, but if you wanted to go deeper than this, you could. But with a squat, you just want to make sure that you're really sitting back as far as you can. There's also something an exercise here we have called a sit to stand, where you have a chair behind you and you just make sure that your legs are at 90 degrees. You sit back in the chair, push up with your heels, and you're working your quads, hams, and your glutes with that exercise. There's lunges too, are a great option. With the lunge on the right hand of the screen, it's kind of the same idea as the squat. You just want a 90-degree angle with one foot, 90-degree angle with the other foot. Sometimes you have to kind of do a slight pelvic tilt forward too. That'll make sure that your back is straight, shoulders up. We like to say chest to the sun. And then on the left side of the screen, you have a side lunge. It's kind of hard to see that one with this particular view, but both knees, toes, and also going back up, the hips should all be facing forward. Sometimes we have people that'll do a fencing lunge where they'll turn that foot the opposite direction. You don't want to do that. You want to keep your toes forward. So the lunge on the right hand of the screen is working quads, hams, glutes, little calf action in there too. And the side lunge is doing more of your abductors and adductors, or your inner and outer thigh, as well as some quad work too. A hip bridge is one of my favorite exercises for hamstrings. You lay on your back and you have your legs, your knees bent, and you push up through your heels, push your hips up and squeeze the glutes. Now, one thing you want to keep in mind is if you have any low back issues, you want to be careful at how far you push those hips up. You're not trying to arch your back. And then if you do have back issues, I would say come to a neutral position, like in the picture here. And then when you come down, slowly put your spine down one by one by one on the floor. But pushing up through your heels is a great one for your glutes and your low back, this hip bridge. If you have bands are really popular now. I don't know if anyone has seen those little stretchy mini bands. You just wrap them around your knees, the top of your knees. I would say maybe like an inch or two above your knees. And that keeps your knees from kind of collapsing the other direction. You just kind of keep them outward while you're pushing those hips up. It's a great one for the glutes. Another one that's a good one for hamstrings is a single leg hamstring bridge, just 1 foot down, 1 foot straight up in the air. If you don't like your foot straight up in the air, you could also cross it over like a figure 4, and you would alternate on both sides. All right, upper body. This is where we get a little bit of limited with upper body because not all of us have things at home like free weights and cable work and all of that. But a traditional push-up is, or a modified push-up is going to be one of your best upper body options because it gets all of your upper body muscles, but especially targets your chest. So a traditional push-up, just hands down on your toes. Make sure you're coming down where you're nice and straight there. And then just pushing straight up. You don't want to ever lock your joints out. So kind of push straight up to where your knees or your elbows are slightly bent. And then if you decide to do the modified version, it's just knees down and hips tucked. That's the most important thing. A lot of times we have people on all fours doing head first push-ups. You just want to make sure your hips are tucked. And on all these, always want to keep your core nice and tight too. With bench dips, for your triceps, I just happen to have this bench in my house. Please, if you do this, have something that's sturdy. My husband did some bench dips the other day with 2 cinder blocks behind him, so sometimes you just have to get creative. But I found this bench and decided to get in a couple dips. That's a great one for your triceps. I'm doing a modified version in this picture here where my feet are a little bit closer to me, but you can also have your feet out straighter too. This would be a great time to get in some upper body cardio too. You know, I call these the 80s exercises right here where you have some arm circles. But cardio punching would be a great one too. If you have taken some kickboxing classes, maybe you know some of those boxing moves. Just set a timer and do a couple reps of those. And then if you happen to have free weights, I have one lonely little 5-pound free weight, so my exercises take me twice as long. But you could do lateral raises, which is just, you could do both sides or you could do one-sided too. And that's only if you have those free weights. I had to get creative the other day and do 2 cans of baked beans.
So you actually do have a question.
Okay.
Are there any helpful fitness apps you can recommend?
Oh, that's a good one. I would just make sure you go to a reputable certification or fitness association, such as ACSM, ACSM is American College of Sports Medicine. National Strength and Conditioning Association is another one. Let's see, I think there's another one. There's all types of group fitness ones too, and they might have some exercises on there. I actually like Pinterest a lot, but you have to be careful. I mean, me having the background in fitness, I can look at an exercise and say, oh, you know, that one doesn't look safe. But that might be a good one too. But I would recommend American College of Sports Medicine. They, especially right now, they might have some, maybe some little online workouts that you could do too. And, you know, now we're in an age where we have different television systems. So like I have Sling TV and there's something on there that's like a Fit TV app that I could go on there and I could look at some workouts. I think Spectrum has something too. DirecTV has some workouts that you could do also. So I would check some of those out. All right. Okay, so some nutrition tips. So the first thing that you want to do is you want to prepare. We have a little quote that we say here called failing to plan is planning to fail. And so you just want to make sure that if you were a person before when you went to work and you were food prepping, do that again, even though you're at home. If you have something already pre-made, you're less likely to choose a snack that's unhealthy. And then when you get your produce at the store, you'd want to clean it and cut it and store it and have it at eye level. So the other day I had some strawberries that went bad because they were in the very back of the fridge. So bring all those things to where you could see them at eye level. Same thing with your pantry too. So if you have, pre-made bags of maybe some almonds, some trail mix in there, have them to where you can see them. When you open up that pantry, they're right there, and a little buzzer goes off that says, oh, that I need to choose this snack instead of the processed snacks that are in there, that are in my pantry. You definitely want to add more protein to your diet. We store carbs and fats in our body, but we don't store protein. So that's why we need to make sure that we get that in our diet. And adequate amounts of protein can help us fight fatigue. You want to look for lean protein, like poultry. Nothing wrong with taking a little bit of, making some tuna salad and having it with, some carrot chips or some celery, or having it on maybe like a gluten-free cracker, something like that. And then if you're plant-based, just add more beans, more legumes, have some more nuts in your diet too. But make sure you just have some type of protein, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And then also your snacks too. Avoiding sugar is going to be a big one, especially sugary beverages like soft drinks. I know one that's a big one for me right now is lemonade. I love lemonade, and this is the time for it. You want something that's comforting, and sometimes beverages do that too. And so sugary beverages will just provide you with empty calories, which means it doesn't really provide you with any nutrients at all. It's just nothing but sugar. So lots and lots of water.
Another question.
Okay, I've got a question.
Do you have any favorite healthy on-the-go breakfast that you could recommend?
On-the-go breakfast. I like to make little egg white, how do I say, like little tortillas or little burritos. I just make like egg whites, put maybe a little bit of cheese in it, put it in like a wrap, just wrap it up, and you can even make them ahead of time, throw them in your freezer, and then you can take them as you go. I know sometimes my husband has to eat breakfast on the go, so he'll grab one of those. I think scooping out some yogurt ahead of time and adding some granola to it, or adding some nuts, I think that would be a great one too. You can't go wrong with fruit as long as it's already chopped up and ready to go. So those might be some good options for on the go. All right, so, and then we were just talking about water there, so make sure that you stay hydrated too. I know something I've had to do is get out a big container and just fill it and make sure that I am drinking that all day long. Otherwise, I won't drink it at all if I don't have it right in front of me. I carry it around everywhere. But staying hydrated will really help our digestive systems. We talk a lot here about gut health and making sure everything is running smoothly. And so water really helps to flush out a lot of toxins. And I would stay clear of any sports drinks that might have a lot more sugar and a lot more salt in them too. So if you are exercising and or maybe you're just a little bit more active at home and you feel like you need a little bit more, maybe some electrolytes, you can make them by just adding just some water, some citrus fruit, and then maybe just a little bit of like Himalayan sea salt in there. That might be a good option as a homemade sports drink, but definitely drink lots of water. And remember that eating well is helping our sleep patterns, it's helping our psychological health, and it's also strengthening our immune systems too. All right, and those are the nutrition tips I have for you guys. Any questions? Oh, and those are the nutrition tips I have. Do you guys have any questions? Any other exercises you're interested in either? No, okay. All right, I think this would be a good time too to show you a couple stretches too. So I have a mat out, and if you can't always get to exercise, structured exercise with cardiovascular fitness or doing some body weight exercises, definitely take a little bit of time to do some stretches. So I'm going to show you a couple now. The first one is going to be a quad stretch for your thigh muscle, and you just want to hold on to something if you need to. Grab one foot and just pull it towards you. When you're stretching this, you want to make sure you're not in this position like that. Have your knee close to you, and you would alternate each side. Make sure your stretches are 10 to 20 seconds, and you can cycle and do the other side, and then you can cycle back for another set if you'd like also. If this one is a hard one too, you could always back up a chair, and you could put your foot here on the chair. Oh, this might not be good if it's a chair that turns. And you could kind of do a modified quad stretch that way. Now, while we have the chair here, I'll show you one of my favorites is a hamstring stretch. You'll just put your heel up, toe to the sky, and sometimes this is enough for people right here to get your hamstring. You'll feel it in your calf too. But if you want more of a stretch, you just lean forward and pull your toe forward, just like that, and you would alternate. And then staying with the lower body, just lean against the wall so you can see me here. Yeah. Tilt one foot against the wall, you get your calf, and then you just lean into the wall, like that. That's always a good one. All right, and you would alternate sides. Let's see, another one that I really like too is just a side stretch. You just lean to one side, act like you want to sit in a chair behind you, and you'll feel a nice stretch on the inner thigh. And then you could always cycle back and do another set too. And then going on to upper body, a pillar stretch, show you on the side, a back stretch like this, hands against the wall, just lean forward. And then if you prefer mat stretches too, a yoga pose is one that's called a child's pose. You can have your feet, you could be sitting on your heels, and you could have your arms out in front of you, and if you can get down this far, you can touch your head to your mat like this.
You have a question.
Oh, I have a question.
So on the push-ups, should the arms be shoulder width apart?
They could probably be a little wider. They could probably, because if you're, oh, actually, if you are more narrow, it would be more of a tricep push-up. I would just make sure you have healthy enough shoulder joints for that. But if you have them wider, a wider handstands is more of the traditional push-up.
You have another question too. It says, I feel that when I work out, I start to feel very tired. Do you recommend using a pre-workout, or is there a snack you can recommend to help keep energy high during a workout?
Oh, that's a good question. So to keep energy high, I would definitely make sure, for one thing, to eat something. I can't tell you how many times people come in and they don't eat anything at all before a workout, and maybe that might work for people. But you want to make sure that you get some type of protein and some type of carbohydrate. So low to moderate amounts of protein, low to moderate amounts of carbs. So a good one for that would be like an egg white and toast, or like cereal and low-fat milk. But you should eat something 2 to 3 hours before, but not 30 minutes before your workout. And that would give you a little bit of energy. Being at home, you don't want to cut your calories. I know that a big word that's trending right now is the quarantine 15, and people are eating whatever they want and they're not exercising, and they could possibly be adding 15 pounds. Let's hope that doesn't happen. We want to stay fit. So we just want to make sure that we are choosing some healthy options, and that we are eating. You don't want to decrease your calories. You do want to eat something. That's helping you. You want to think about your calories in terms of energy units. That food that you're having for breakfast and lunch, and then maybe your snack is making sure that you don't have that 4 o'clock crash at the end of the day. So just making sure you do eat something.
You have another one. What is the best thing to eat after a workout?
Oh, a good question too. Probably the same idea. If you don't want to eat directly, like right after you work out, I think that's a good option. I would make sure that you have a little bit of time, bring your body back down to a resting state, get hydrated. But definitely a carb and a protein would be good to follow up to.
Another one, how much water should people drink each day?
I think this depends. I mean, you can look at different websites. They'll tell you you should drink this for your weight or your age, but you can't go wrong with 64 ounces of water. So I know I saw something the other day, and I thought that is such a good idea. Someone took like a gallon of water, or I guess it was like a milk jug or something, and made like tally marks of how much, or they made like little marks on it, like this is 8 ounces and this is 16 ounces. And they were drinking that throughout the day, and I think that's a great idea to do. But shoot for 64 ounces.
Another person said, thank you for the stretches. Are there specific stretches you can give us for better posture at the computer?
Oh yes, I think a good one for desk ergonomics is to make sure that you have your feet flat. Now what happens is we get a little fatigued and we start to slouch, and then our shoulders become hunched. We get that internal rotation of our shoulders, maybe our low back hurts. So for me, a good one is to stand up every couple of minutes and stretch straight up as a pillar stretch. And then I also round the shoulders forward to get the upper back. And then maybe I'll even put my hands behind me for a chest stretch too. And then don't forget to stretch those hamstrings if you've been sitting all day too.
Is that all of your presentation?
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Does anyone else have any other questions for Kyndall? No, it doesn't look like it.
Okay. So I think what I do want to add to is a couple things with some crunches. I know that's a big thing. Earlier I mentioned something about how you should just be careful doing crunches and sit-ups because they're hard on your neck and your back. But if you feel like you need to do them, if you feel like they're effective for you, I want to show you the best possible way to do them. So I'm going to go over to my mat here. And first thing you want to do is have your knees bent and your feet not totally together. You want them a little bit wider. And you can either cross your hands over your chest. You can have them behind your neck, but keep in mind that there's this move right here. You might get a little fatigued in these and start doing just neck crunches. You don't want to do that. Or I prefer a knee slide. And what you'll do is put your hands on your quads, and you'll look at the ceiling and slide your knees up, just like that. That's your traditional sit-up right there. Now, if you're doing the side crunches, same idea. Just take your hand to your opposite knee, slide it up, just like that. And this way you're looking at the ceiling the whole time, and you're keeping your neck and your back straight. Sometimes I see like oblique crunches, which are the sides of your abs. Sometimes people will cross their leg on one side and they'll reach. I think that one's okay too. And you can go to each side. You can even do a couple stretches while you're here too. And you can even do some reverse crunches if you have like a ball or something, and you can pull those knees forward to get a lower abdominal crunch if you wanted to target that muscle too. And I think that's it for those. All right. Does anybody have any maybe exercise myths, anything you've seen that you want to ask about too? See if we can clear those up. Okay. All right. Oh.
How is running for losing weight?
That's a good question. I think a lot of times people think that if I run, I'm going to lose weight faster than when I walk. But sometimes that's not necessarily true. We have something here called a target heart rate. And if your heart rate is too high, the body can't really make a lot of change when it's too high, but it does make a change when it's a little bit in a middle range. And And so walking or a brisk walk would be a great way to do some running. But if you feel like you want to run, you want to try it, your joints are healthy enough, you feel like you're getting a great workout with it, you want to sweat, then yeah, I would definitely start off with a Couch to 5K app. I mean, it'd been a long time since I was running, and I opened that app up and started running for, 30 seconds here, a minute here, and then you can kind of build your way up. It's a great way to progress with running. So you can lose weight with running, but don't feel like that's your only option for weight loss.
Another one is, what is a common myth you hear the most?
Let's see. I was actually just on social media one day, and something came up that talked about, and what made me laugh was that the caption said, "How to eat healthy when you're quarantined." And I thought, oh, I'm having this lecture. I just want to see what these people think. I want to say it was something from like spoonuniversity.com or something, and I'd never even heard of that website. And I went, and all the advice was terrible. It was like, eat comfort food, eat whatever you want. And I think that is, I don't want to say it's a myth, but I just think it's something that we shouldn't do. Yes, we're home and things are closed. We have cabin fever, but I don't think that gives us permission to eat terrible.
Another one is, what is the best way to adjust/correct your heart rate?
Oh, I would just say, let's see, if you're running, or maybe if you're doing something high intensity, I would just stop, maybe walk, jog in place for a little bit. A lot of times here we do interval training with clients where if their heart rate gets too high and maybe we don't want them to be in that zone, we have them go at a slower pace for a couple seconds to bring the heart rate back down. A lot of times now, with our technology that we have, I know I have a Fitbit, and it tells me when my heart rate's gotten too high. It's getting a little bit old now, but I know people still use them, a polar heart rate monitor. That is a little chest strap, and it tells you on your watch what your heart rate is. So you could always track it that way too. We could tell you there's an easy way to find out what your target heart rate range is also.
And a couple questions. Any ideas for kids, teenagers during homeschooling?
I don't, with kids, I don't know when they're able to stop. I don't know if they get breaks or not, but if they are, maybe that would be the time for you to, say, okay, you know what, Mom is going to do 15 minutes of just some upper body exercises. I want you to join me, or hey, we're going to go for a little walk. But I realize too that kids don't want it to be so structured the way that we want it. And so maybe the little exercise break for them is going out and playing a little bit of basketball. I know after my son's nap, we go out and we play soccer, and we just kick the ball around for a couple minutes. So that might be a good way to kind of sneak it in there if you don't feel like your little ones are gonna, or your teenagers are gonna get outside on their own. If you just kind of try to make something fun. I think too, looking up things like looking up apps and, getting them excited about it and say, hey, I'm going to do this exercise. I want you to do it with me. And maybe that would get them excited to do it too.
If you are unable to do squats or lunges because of previous knee injuries, what are some alternative exercises?
I would definitely say the sit to stand, which I'll demonstrate that one right now. Or if you do lunges, I would just limit your range of motion. So with lunges and squats, instead of going all the way to your squatted position all the way down, if you just modify it like this, maybe speed it up a little bit, get a little cardio action, you could do that too. Same thing with your lunges. Instead of going all the way down, you could just do some modified ones. But a sit to stand is a great exercise. I have to be careful because this chair moves. But you start off with legs at 90 degrees. And if this is too low and you have something to kind of build this chair up a little bit, you could do that. You just want shoulders back, tummy muscles tight, hands out in front of you, push up through your heels, and then you would sit right back down, and then you would just repeat the exercise.
I don't know if Dave's, what his question is, it's a typo. Can you talk about, is it calculating target heart rate in training zones? Is that
Yes.
right? Okay.
Oh, yes. Okay. So I don't know if any of you have paper and pencil near you, but you could write down this small equation. It's what we call an age predicted formula for getting your target heart rate zone. You take 220 and you minus your age, and that number that you get is called your max heart rate. Now, whatever that max heart rate is, it's a little too high to be, and your body language will let you know if you've gotten too high. So what you want to be is an intensity range between those two numbers. So 60 to 90% is usually the recommended range to be in. So you just take your max heart rate times 60%, and then you take your max heart rate times the 90%, and then you get two numbers. And what you'll want to do is you'd want to work between those two numbers, and that is your body's fat burning zone. Now, one thing that's going to throw these numbers off is if you are on heart medicine, that's a beta blocker. Those medicines are designed to lower your heart rate. So when we have somebody who comes in and they're on beta blocker medication, we won't give them a target heart rate range to be in, because they'll try to work too hard to get up to that range when that medicine is trying to lower that. So if you are on any type of beta blocker, what we would recommend is just going by just your body language. You know, if you feel like you could keep going, keep going. If you feel like, you know what, I'm out of breath, I need to stop and rest, you can stop and rest. Does anyone need me to repeat that target heart rate range equation? Okay.
Does anyone have any other questions for Kyndall? Do you have a recommended amount of time we should be in the fat burning zone?
Oh, yes, that's a good question. About 20 minutes is where you want to try to keep those numbers between those two numbers, is about a 20-minute range. Now, when you are first deciding that, okay, I'm going to try to work between these two numbers of my target heart rate zone, and maybe you have like a watch that you can watch it. I would be careful at trying to be within those numbers for a whole 20 minutes in the very beginning. You know, maybe you're just in between what I call the middle of those, just your mid-range. Maybe you're in that mid-range for maybe 5-10 minutes, and that's good. And then every day, see if you can just maybe get to it a little bit longer for about 20 minutes. And then also too, interval training is good too. Like I said, a walk, run. That's a great way to get your heart rate up, down. Interval training is, we also call it circuit training here too. And that would be really good for weight loss too.
We have another one. Now that I am home, I have more time to exercise. I'm a beginner. Where do I start?
Oh, I would say definitely walking. You know, almost everybody can walk. Maybe if you can't do it for long distances or long periods of time, that's okay. The American College of Sports Medicine recommends that everyone exercise at least 30 minutes of cardiovascular fitness, 30 to 60 minutes, but a good 30 minutes. And you could break that up if you wanted to. You could do 3 10-minute sessions, or you could do 15 minutes in the morning when it's cool, 15 minutes at night when it's cool, and that would be the same as doing, a whole 30 minutes of cardio. I would definitely start with some walking there and some stretches, and then try to get into some more body weight exercises like the squats, the lunges, and all the things on the video that I showed.
On this next question, can you talk about the services NTC offers for when we get back to the gym? I actually do have something. Can I start off?
Yeah, sure.
So right now I know that everyone is at home. If you do follow the NTC on Facebook, we are posting 30-minute exercise group fitness classes every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. We have been doing this for the past month, so we have tons of videos on our Facebook if you want to go ahead and check those out or share them. They range from silver sneakers classes to HIIT workouts. We have a lot of stuff on there, yoga classes, so you can always check that out. Yes, we can send the link. I can find the link. And then if you want to go ahead and talk about the other stuff NTC offers.
Yeah, and then for new members, when you come in, you get an appointment called an orientation, or sometimes we just call it a fitness evaluation. And that's just when you come in, you sit down with a trainer, and we talk about your medical and orthopedic considerations. We talk about your goals, and then we create a workout for you to follow. And it could be, showing you the cardiovascular equipment, showing you the resistance training equipment or the free weights. But also too, if maybe you've been a member, but maybe you feel like you're coming back, you just need a little bit of a jump start, stop at the welcome desk and see if you can get what we call a program review. Just tell a trainer, hey, I need a little bit of a refresher on my workout, and we could meet with you and we could either kind of go through your workouts again, tweak it a little bit, or maybe add in some new suggestions too. And then there's also personal training that's available also.
Any other? Do you offer nutrition services at NTC?
We don't, but we do have a registered dietitian that's on site. Now, you do want to go through your physician because there's a specific diagnostic code that she uses for all of that. But I would definitely recommend calling the welcome desk when we open or stopping by. We have some pamphlets for her. Her name's Jackie, and she's fabulous.
Any other questions?
I think another something else that would be really great for people too, if you haven't already tried it, is we have a workout called Fast Track, and they're just 30-minute workouts twice a week for 4 weeks, and it's the same workouts over and over again for 4 weeks. But then we call it Fast Track because you can kind of track into maybe personal training, or you can try maybe some of the other services that we offer too, like TRX or Pilates. And so Fast Track would be a really great option if you just kind of need to get your foot in the door again. All right.
Anything else?
Great.
Any
Thank you
other
very much, Kyndall. We really appreciate you being with us today. A lot of great information. We will share this video with our membership. I'd like to just do one more call for questions. Anybody else? All right. Well, I think that will do it for our program today. It was really great, Kyndall. We appreciate you and everyone at the NTC for being there for us.
Yeah. Thanks for having me. It was a lot of fun.
Right. Have a great day, everyone.
Thanks, you too.
Have a great day.